I do come across some strange laws in my daily bid to inform, educate and entertain you with regard to various laws. And this one has sort of been thrown in my face in the last few days by various regional newspapers and online outlets, with headlines such as "Parking in the wrong direction can see you fined £2,500, says the Highway Code." Well, this is actually quite true, and I'm going to explain why. Because what these headlines tend to do is just grab your attention, which admittedly I do with my titles and thumbnails, but at the same time I like to actually point out where the law is, what the law is, what the rules are, and whether or not you're likely to be found guilty of it. So anyway, let's dive into the rules. So it's actually quite correct, and it's quite specific. And in fact, I saw a TikTok video not too long ago when a chap was arguing with an enforcement officer for giving him a fine for exactly this. Although in that scenario, the enforcement officer got it wrong, because this was during the day. Allow me to explain. Rules 248 to 252 of the Highway Code deal with parking at night. And before I look at some of these, remember when they use the words must not do something or must do something, they are ordinarily backed up with legislation and or regulations. And in the case of Rule 248, this is the Construction and Use Regulations 101. And this states that you must not park on a road at night facing against the direction of the traffic flow, unless you're in a recognised parking space. So what this essentially means is that if you are parked up on a road at night and it's not a designated painted out parking space, then you must be facing the correct direction of traffic flow, as against facing the wrong way, facing the flow of traffic. And this is presumably so that when vehicles are coming up in that lane, they don't get the reflection of your vehicle and somehow get confused at the reflection of white light as opposed to red light, which might confuse drivers driving at night as to whether or not you are parked up on the side of the road or whether you are driving on the wrong side of the road. But as I said, this only applies if you're parked at night and you're not in a recognised parking bay. So, contrary, if you are parked in a recognised parking bay, somehow the lines drawn around it make it safe. That's probably because these are usually offset from the lane and separate from the lane, because most parking spaces will of course be offset from the road. But not always, but nonetheless this rule only applies if you are not parked in a recognised parking bay. And otherwise the headlines are correct to the extent that you could face a fine if you are found to be parked at night facing the wrong way and you're not in a designated parking bay. However, Rule 249 takes this even further, and that is that all vehicles must display parking lights. Remember, those are the little parking side lights that you learnt about when you were learning to drive many years ago, and many people have struggled to find ever since. When parked on a road or a lay-by on a road with a speed limit greater than 30 miles per hour. And this, of course, is so that if vehicles are coming past you, they see your parking light and are warned of your vehicle's presence. So as odd as that sounds, those are the rules, and now that this is hitting the headlines all over the place, I would fully expect to see enforcement officers coming around to fine vehicles for doing just that. So do let me know in the comments what you think of this rule. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next time.